Yo, today I've got an Asvine C80 for your consideration, which is a new Asvine release. Sorry, slight problem with my technical setup. Um, so this is an Asvine C80, which is the latest release with their number 8 nib, the first one being the C2000 here. So this one is a resin or plastic pen. I don't know if it's a scientific thing, but I kind of have a degree where I would say resin and I would say plastic, and I shall try and remember to return to that in a second. So there's no clip on this one, and this is a cigar or torpedo shaped pen with a nice swirly plastic slash resin. With a nice bit of glitter in there as well. So it's nice bit of depth in this. I quite like it. So this one kind of a dark teal slash green with those swirls, and almost a bluish purpley kind of glitter sprinkle in there. Not sure how good that's showing up on camera, but that's kind of what it is. Okie dokie. So yes, cigar shaped pen, just round finials at each end, no clip, no cap band, very simple. And I'm going to have my usual problem now of how to measure the turns. Hang on. So, speaking of scientific, oops, sorry. There you go. Right, so 1.5, 2, about 2 turns to unscrew that. Thank you very much, Mr. Sticker. To reveal section which tapers in a little bit towards the nib before flaring back out, so providing a nice place to put your fingers, which won't spill over into the nib. The nib is a steel number 8 sized Asvine nib, extra fine in this case, and plastic feed. Cartridge converter pen this, which unscrews to reveal the included Asvine branded converter, which is just checking, friction fit converter, and is like the Chinese standard fitting. No O-ring on there, is there? No O-ring to cushion the closure, but does close up nicely. You've got plastic on plastic, and that doesn't feel like it's going anywhere unless you want it to. Threads are not sharp, not particularly intrusive at all. Actually, they're quite smooth, and you've got that step down there, which I wouldn't say is sharp. I don't think you're really going to be holding up there anyway. It's quite a big section. If you drift onto the threads, you're not going to feel that too much. If you're up here, you might feel that step down a little bit, but I wouldn't imagine that you would be. It's quite a long pen as well. It does post, but that is pretty long, and I'd say secure. It's not really secure, so it does post. It's not going to come off. But if you give it a push, it does loosen up. There you go. So if you were going to post that and then it rested on your hand and that wiggled a little bit, it might come off. So it does post, but not necessarily securely, I would say. Excuse me. So at time of recording, there were 6 finishes for this, all of a kind of different colour, but similar look, swirly resin, bit of sparkle kind of thing, which I could see. And the number 8 steel nib comes in extra fine, medium, or a stub. I forgot to look up the measurement of the stub, but I presume it's 1.1. I think I've seen that it's 1.1. And that is around about, so currently on Amazon in the UK, $28.99, which is pretty much what I paid for it. You shop around AliExpress or wherever else, you may find it a little bit cheaper. If you live in a non-VAT area, region, you may find it a little bit cheaper. But thereabouts, so 25 to 30 pounds. So for a size comparison with some other pens, here is your Asvine C80 against the Lamy Safari. So obviously, as you can see, a bit bigger than that, a bit chunkier and a bit longer. Then against a TWSBI Eco, similar story. And then if I'm just going to pop it up against the Asvine C2000 line, the back finial up there, as you can see, a little bit shorter. And I think the appearance is the C2000 is girthier because of that cap, because you've got the chunkier end with the flat top. But if we take the caps off and have a little look, and just line that back up. So they're very, very similar in the pen themselves. You haven't got the flare on the section of the 2000, but saying that, the 2000 is a little bit longer from the back, with the nib protruding out there a little bit. I think the nib is not set as deep as well. Yeah, there you go. So let's look at some measurements while I screw the tops back on. So measurements of the pen. So obviously you have capped, uncapped and posted. As I mentioned, it's not the most secure post in the world. You can put it on there and it won't come off, but if you make contact with that, that's just going to wiggle off. So the barrel is 15.5 up here near the threads, and then tapering down to about 12 before you get to the end finial. And the section starts 12.9 up here at the threads, tapering in to 11.9 before that little flare out there. And then the weight, so this does have some ink in it, as you see, so do give and take just a little bit, but there's it's pretty dry now actually. Hopefully there's enough for a writing sample. 25.8 capped, 18 grams uncapped, and 7.8 grams in the cap. Shall we see if we've got enough for a writing sample? So, sorry, that focus is not very good. Let's try that. Here we go. So it's the Asvine C80. This is an extra fine steel number 8 nib, and the ink in here is, what is it? It is Monteverde California Teal. Which I think is quite a nice match for this. It's that greener teal, which I'm rather fond of. Very, very, very nicely smooth nib, particularly for an extra fine. I will say it's kind of more of a fine than an extra fine. I've got a fine on the 2000 and I don't think it's inked at the minute. Otherwise I could show you. No. But I found it's a very nice fine and nice and wet, that one. But so I went for the extra fine. Just because, you know, I've been appreciating slightly finer things recently. So it's on the edge of a Western fine, I would say, for this particular extra fine. But a really good flow, and it's one of the smoothest extra fines I've written with. Lovely nib. I think the only thing I would say is the time's a little bit tight, so you can get a little bit drier upstroke, but it's not a criticism per se, just an observation. So let's try it a bit quicker. Was a little bit of just a skip here and here. I don't think I lifted, but as I say, just on your upstrokes, it is slightly drier, which is going to be the nature of an extra fine. I suppose just see there. However, it's very nice on the downstrokes, and I don't think I have any hard starting issues or anything like that. There is a nice little bit of bounce in it, so with no pressure. And then if you add some pressure, you can get a little bit of width out of that. Go easy, it's a steel nib, but obviously with the number 8 nibs, you do find sometimes, depending on the kind of architecture of the nib, with a slightly longer tine and slit between breather hole and end, you will naturally get a little bit more bounce on it, but it's very pleasant, and you can add a little bit of character should you so wish. It doesn't need a massive amount of effort, but just enough to let you know that not to go mad, you know. There we go. So obviously, sometimes if you're going to do that, you might want to let the feed catch up a little bit. It's not a flex nib or anything like that. But yes, very, very, very pleasant nib. Goes along kind of the tradition nowadays, in my mind, that Asvine nibs are very, very reliable. I've got most Asvine models. I think the only one I don't have is the P20, which is the one with the piston filler with the ink window. It's purely a personal choice because the ink window protrudes out from the cap, and I don't really like that. But in fact, let me show you. So here we have a tray of Asvines. There's the C80 and there's the C2000. I'm going to have to remember some numbers here, do excuse me. But you've got the P50, yeah. The V126, two of them. You've got the P36, the P80, the V200, and the V169 as well. Obviously, P for piston filler, V for vac filler, etc. Then the C for cartridge converter. There you go. So yeah, but all of these nibs out of the box have been fine to fantastic. I've not had to like retune any of them. It's like, you know, might have been, oh yeah, that's fine, it works well without blowing me away, to, I mean, I really love this one, I really love this one, I really love this one, I really love this one. So they do come out extremely well for nib quality control and consistency. I'm not saying that there's never going to be a bum nib, but I don't think I've personally had one off an Asvine. If you like your nice glittery swirly pattern, this is a very nice example. Oh, I did mention plastic versus resin. I mean, just in my, it's not a technical specification by any means. It's just my mind being weird and classifying things. But I suppose a resin I tend to think of as quite thick, and a plastic quite thin. So even just if we say it's a plasticky feel, this is somewhere in the middle. That's actually quite thick. You can see, I don't know if you can see, but like the not translucent, but you can see the light through it. But it feels a good quality. So I mean, it's not plasticky. It's obviously plastic. I don't know if you'd go so far as to call it a resin. I know they're the same, you know, but it feels a good quality. It doesn't feel cheap. It doesn't feel like it's going to crack with like, you know, your hand pressure, or if you just knocked it against something or dropped it on the floor. It doesn't feel like that. It might do, but it doesn't feel like that. It feels quality. Feels a decent weight in the hand. So if you like a larger pen, it's a really good fit in the hand. You've got that flare out there on the section. It's very comfortable writer. And that nib's really, really nice, as I come to expect from Asvine. So yeah, good addition to the Asvine drawer, which is growing now. And yeah, I may or may not have. The thing is, I may pick up. I don't know if it would be this or maybe the C2000, because they also do an ebonite one now, which I don't have. But I do fancy examples of the other nib grades of the number 8 nib, the medium, and perhaps even try out the stub. So I may get some more. Thanks for listening to the waffle. See you later. Take care.